You're listening to Mountain Heartbeat with Joe and Rosa Hopkins, proclaiming the gospel through word and through song.
Hi, and welcome to Mountain Heartbeat. I'm Joe Hopkins. This week we have an interview with Alicia Marks that we'd like to play for you, and I certainly hope you enjoy it.
So today on Mountain Heartbeat, we have guest Alicia Marks, and it's good to have you on the show today.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Absolutely. And so you have a remarkable story, and I don't want to ruin it for the listeners. I just want to hear you say it in your own words, because I think that's the best thing. But it was an amazing story that had to do with the birth of one of your children. And why don't you just tell us what happened? What happened when you were pregnant and you started getting tests run?
Okay. Well, very early on in my pregnancy, this was for my third child that I had, but I had two miscarriages just before this. So I had two children and two miscarriages when I got pregnant with this child. And I got pregnant with her, and because of the miscarriages, we had ultrasounds early on. And when I had my first ultrasound, the ultrasound tech was trying to find the baby, and she's not seeing anything. The ultrasound machine is just completely black. And she goes, well, I think there's something wrong with our ultrasound machine, so I'm going to go get another one. And that's kind of your first, little nervous situation there. And so she runs, and she got a different ultrasound machine, and she tried that, and the same thing happened. There was just nothing. It was just black. And so she said in a cheery voice, I'm going to go get the doctor. And you know that that's not good. So the doctor came in, and she also tried to find the baby, and everything was just black. And so she sat me down, and she said, so this happens when you don't have enough amniotic fluid because the ultrasound machine can't work. And the only reason that we wouldn't have enough amniotic fluid is if the baby either does not have kidneys or does not have a liver, or they have them, but they're not functioning. And so to survive in your belly, they use yours, but then when they come out, they would die. And so she kind of said, these are sort of the things that happen when we have your situation, so we're going to get you a specialist right away. And that was on a Friday, and they had me at a specialist on Monday. So I went to the specialist, and the first thing that the specialist said was, okay, well, we're going to look and see if we can find a liver or kidneys. And they had a 4D ultrasound machine, and they had a hard time even finding anything with that. And so basically he said exactly what my doctor had said, which is, he told me flat out, you need to prepare yourself that this is not going to end well, that your baby, when it's born, it's going to die if one of these things had happened. And the crazy thing about it is there's about 25 things that can cause this, and I didn't have any of them. It can be hereditary, but we didn't have that. It can be because of alcohol or drug use. I hadn't done that. Just a lot of things, and I did not have one of the things on the checklist. So it was really a crazy situation. And so this went on for my entire pregnancy, basically. Every week I would have an ultrasound with the specialist, and every week he would say the same thing, there's not really anything we can do. You're either formed with these organs or you're not. And so this isn't going to end well. Prepare yourself for that, and we're just going to see how it goes. Now, during that time, I knew that I had the option to abort the baby because I had been given zero hope that this baby was going to live. I mean, it would be born and die just because of the complications that the baby had. So that was an option for us, but we never considered that as an option. And the reason that we didn't is not that I had not already had two miscarriages, so I knew what that was. I know what it's like to lose a baby. But we didn't want to take away God's ability to heal should he choose to do that. And I think that's the real danger of getting these prenatal diagnoses and then acting on it. Because you really just take away God's ability to work. And the verse that came to my mind during this whole pregnancy was Isaiah 59:1, which says, surely the arm of the Lord is not too short to save, nor his ear too dull to hear. And so we knew that God could heal, but we had, of course, no guarantee that he would heal. And this was a really, if there was ever a time I've gone through emotional torture, it was this time. And I really learned through this time that you really have to give your thoughts to God. Because if you do not, you will lose your mind, because there's nothing like carrying a baby that you know is going to die. And so I figured out kind of the hard way that if I did not have the Word of God coming into my mind almost the entire day, that I would not make it. And so we were living in Alabama at the time, but we're from Oregon, and so all of our friends and all of our family was in Oregon. And my husband's a mechanical and aerospace engineer, so he spent like 3 months during that time working at the Army Research Lab in Washington, D.C. So I was there by myself with my 2 little kids. And if the house was quiet, my thoughts would take over, and I would fall on the ground in a puddle of tears. But the thing that kept me going during that time was, if I could just keep the Word of God coming into my mind, I would be okay. And so I listened to every sermon that our pastor had archived on our church website. I listened to every sermon that our old pastor in Oregon had archived on his website. If the kids were being too loud, and so I couldn't concentrate on a sermon, I would just listen to praise music. Because as soon as my mind was not focused on the goodness of God, I would literally fall apart almost immediately. And so that was really how I got through it. And one day, I was swimming back and forth, and this was almost at the end of my pregnancy. And I was at the gym, and I was swimming back and forth, just doing laps, and just bawling my eyes out, just crying out to God during this time, because it was really hard.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine. And so I was just talking to God in my mind while I was sobbing and swimming. And then I got out and I got into the shower, and I laid my head against the stone that was on the shower at the gym, and I just prayed out loud, actually, at the gym. I just said, you know what, God, and I just quoted the verse that was from Daniel 3:17 and 18, where Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego are speaking to King Nebuchadnezzar, who's about to throw them into a fiery furnace and kill them. And they said, if we're thrown into the blazing furnace, the God we serve is able to deliver us from it, and he will deliver us from your majesty's hand. But even if he does not, we will not serve your gods or worship the image of gold that you have set up. And I just really told the devil out loud that I didn't care what he did. And if he killed this baby, I was not going to not serve God. I was going to take whatever it was that came from the hand of God. And that was sort of a turning point for me. And one day, I went to have my weekly ultrasound. And I kid you not, I was full of amniotic fluid, just like a normal healthy pregnancy. And it was right at the end, like just a couple weeks before she was born. And the ultrasound tech went and got the specialist, and he looked at it, and he goes, well, that doesn't just happen. And he walked out. And so I was like, well, okay, but
it just did. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I think I only had one more ultrasound before I had the baby, actually. But she was born completely healed and healthy. And she is now 6 years old and just the most delightful child ever. And so that's really our God story.
Oh, my goodness. And, yeah, so, I mean, and I'm not trying to put anybody on the spot here, but did anybody actually suggest to you that maybe carrying this child to term wasn't what they thought you should be doing?
No. I think I have actually done a lot of pro-life work, so everybody in my life knows that I am very pro-life, just individual, and so there's that. But this is really where the rubber meets the road, kind of, because this is where you can believe that you're pro-life for somebody else, and then when you get in a crisis situation, you have to decide if you really are.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so this was kind of that situation. Our specialist did tell us multiple times, prepare yourself that this won't end well. And that's what he said to us. My other doctor, my regular doctor, was a Christian, and I don't think that she would have suggested that to me. But, the doctor was quite frank that if you're formed and you don't have a liver or you don't have kidneys or they don't function, there's no medical help for that.
Right.
So, this baby is not going to make it.
Thank you for joining us this week on Mountain Heartbeat. That's all the time we have for our interview with Alicia Marks, but we'll be concluding that interview next week. Same channel, same time. We would love it if you would join us then. If you'd like to find a copy of this or our other programs, you can find them on soundcloud.com/Rosa Hopkins. You can also find a good bit of our music on there for free. If you'd like to find Rosa's blog, it's at lifeinsidethehouseontherock.com. And if you go to that website and go to the contacts page, you can book us to play music or to speak at your church. We'd like it very much if you'd stop by, leave a comment, let us know what you think. You can also find us on YouTube at youtube.com/Joe and Rosa Hopkins. We're also on Facebook. And we'd like to leave you with a song. It's called Give the Giver Credit.
Give the giver credit. Give your maker praise. The gentle breezes on your skin, warm sunshine rays. And when you live and stop to think of all the gifts he gave, give the giver credit, give your maker praise. The tender hands which cherish thee, whosever they may be, husband, wife, a longtime friend, a mother elderly, the laughter of small children, the smile of a baby, all who make your life so rich are far from ordinary. Give the giver credit, give your maker praise, for gentle breezes on your skin, warm sunshine rays. And when you're living, stop to think of all the gifts he gave. Give the giver credit, give your maker praise. The joyful strains of music are what I like to hear. All the songs that I could want, he gave unto my ear. Lyric, verse, and melody, and themes of love divine, satisfies my yearnings deep in melody sublime. Give the giver credit, give your maker praise, for gentle breezes on your skin and warm sunshine rays. And when you live and stop to think of all the gifts he gave, give the giver credit, give your maker praise. To live in, a car we have to drive, clothes and shoes and all those things we need just to survive. But do we ever notice that the Lord with outstretched hand has given even more than this? He gave us all we have. Give the giver credit, give your maker praise, for gentle breezes on your skin, warm sunshine rays. And when you live and stop to think of all the gifts he gave, give the giver credit, give your maker praise. Give the giver credit, give your maker praise.